Okay, hello, how's it going? Hope you're having a very nice day and a very nice week. I'm playing a game today called The Babysitter. I went into it, that's why it says resume, I went into it by accident before doing my intro, so I've just quit straight out of it, so I haven't actually played it yet. But this game is an interesting one. It is a visual novel type game. So if that's not your thing, you may not like it, so I'll see you in the next one. But yeah, it's... what do they call it? It's a visual novel. So it's a horror, adventure, / visual novel where you're asked to become someone's babysitter. And that's all I think we need to know. So, hope you enjoy it. I like these. Not Involved is still my favourite visual novel game that I played, and I'll link that. That was an amazing game, very underrated. If you haven't seen it, I recommend you do. But yeah, like the video if you enjoy this game and let me know what you think about it. And if you want to see more games like this. So there's an advertisement on Elite Childminding Services Guardian Angel, and this is a job posting that a babysitter is needed urgently. Childminder required tomorrow evening for our 12-year-old daughter at Westfield Groves. Reference checks will be conducted, so let's apply for it. Why not? Why the hell not? So because there's a talking one, I need my drink. So there's going to be a lot of talking from me in this, I'm afraid, so bear with me, because my voice will probably be hoarse at the end. This suburb, Whitefield Groves. Let me check I'm recording. Yes. Whitefield Groves is one of the more exclusive neighbourhoods in the city, but it's on the outskirts of town, pretty much in the middle of nowhere. This house, like all the other houses in this neighbourhood, is set far apart from its neighbours. This sure is a nice place with a well-maintained lawn and a pool, although at this hour, it does seem a little foreboding. It's just about 7 PM and it's already dark. The house seems quiet. Mrs. Raj, the woman who called you back after you sent in your application, asked you to be here by 7:30 PM and had been particular that you be on time. Mrs. Raj told you that she and her husband, Dr. Raj, were going out for the evening and she didn't want their daughter home alone. The fact that the girl is 12 and requires a sitter indicates there may be some issues here. Or it could just be that the child doesn't like being alone at home after dark. That's quite normal. Mrs. Raj sounded like a very exacting kind of parent. The type who is very mindful of every aspect of her child's care. She asked you a lot of questions about your background and your qualifications. She seemed pretty finicky. You can't blame her really. These days, most parents, particularly the rich ones, pay a lot of attention to their children's upbringing. It is the nature of our times and it pays to be vigilant. Since you've been registered with the Guardian Angel Childcare Agency for the last 3 years, you've got good references, so you were pretty confident you would get the gig. It pays well too. Well, you're here. You're about half an hour early, which you hope is not too early for them. You'd better ring the doorbell to let them know you're here. Okay. Dr. Raj, I presume? Ah, yes, of course, you must be the babysitter. I'm Dr. Raj. My wife told me you would be here. That's great. Do come in. He steps aside and you walk into the house. This lounge area overlooks the lawn and the pool through tinted black windows on your left. I forgot to say, this very game that you're seeing is made by Crux Game Studios, who has made The Hospital, which I played ages ago, a game called Within, which I think I will have published by now. That'll have been out. I've played that, the one where your boyfriend or someone gets stuck in a video game, and a game called Decrypt, which will either be out or it won't. If it hasn't been out yet, look out for the game that's like set in space where you explore an abandoned shuttle. So I've already played a couple of these guys' games. This lounge area overlooks the lawn and the pool through tinted black windows on your left. The floor underfoot is real wood and the furniture looks like it costs a fortune. I'm so glad we found you on such short notice. Shreya, that's my wife, was quite worried we wouldn't be able to get a sitter on time. You see, I got an invitation to speak at a late evening segment of a medical convention just 2 days ago, so the whole situation came about rather abruptly. Shreya is very particular about in whose care we leave Maya, our daughter. We had a bad experience with our last sitter. She's very cautious when it comes to Maya. You sense a mild apology in his tone. Yes, I did feel that the interview was quite thorough. It's alright, it's important to be diligent when it comes to such matters. Yes, that's very true. I can see why you gained her confidence. I'll go in and tell her you're here. She's just getting ready. I'll then grab my coat and head out to the car, so I'll see you next when we're back. It was a pleasure meeting you. Do make yourself comfortable. Shreya will be out in a second. Okay. Dr. Raj leaves you, and you wait for Mrs. Raj, who he referred to as Shreya. He seems pleasant, if a little absent. A rather stark difference to Mrs. Raj, who sounded formal and humorless on the call. It must be pleasant here during the day. The glass doors on your left letting in natural light. But now at night, the windows looked out into darkness, and the trees bordering the lawn throw deep shadows. It's understandable now why they would not want their child to spend a late evening alone. The house is large and isolated from its neighbours. The neighbourhood is itself rather lonesome. Children with their active imaginations can easily get distracted after dark in such an environment, every creak and every night sound taken on sinister undertones. Oh, Mrs. Raj, hello there. We had spoken on the phone. Thank you for being early, I appreciate that. As Anand, my husband, might have told you, we're attending a medical convention and he is one of the keynote speakers for the evening. The organisers just called us a few minutes ago and told us that the traffic around the convention centre is a nightmare and that we should start out early if we wanted to get there on time. So now we have to leave half an hour earlier. The organiser seems so, disorganised. Her tone is clipped. She's clearly a woman who does not like it when plans go awry or situations get unpredictable. I'm really glad we were able to find a sitter on such short notice. I know Maya seems quite old to be needing a sitter, but I try to avoid leaving our daughter home alone if possible. Quite understandable, the house does seem rather foreboding after dark. Yes, children can require supervision even at that age. I suppose so, Maya's actually quite independent, it's just that she's going through a difficult time right now. How so? Well, we recently moved here from another state about 6 months ago. Anand got an offer to be a director at the NHU hospital. We wanted to stay together as a family, so we packed up and shifted our lives. It was a rather abrupt change for Maya. You know, leaving her old friends, her old life, the home she grew up in. She's taken it a little hard. She hasn't made any friends at her new school, she spends a lot of time alone. Anand feels guilty about it because we moved for his work, but the directorship at the NHU hospital is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It was only right for him to accept it. Maya's behaviour doesn't make it easier on him though. Couple that with her overactive imagination and it can get a little stressful. What kind of behaviour are we talking? Well, it's nothing serious really, please don't misunderstand me. Maya's a wonderful child. In fact, she's very bright for her age, which may be part of the problem. She's thoughtful, she reads beyond her years, and she's surprisingly mature for her age. It's just that she still hasn't come to terms with the move. Unfortunately, she's expressing her distress in rather disconcerting ways. How so? Give me specifics, Raj! She is struggling with a lot of emotions. She's just turning 12, so she's on the cusp of her teenage years. She's in a new school, and you know how difficult school can be at that age. Hormones, boys, and all the rest of it. Anand and I are busy for much of the day, but we try to talk to her about her feelings whenever we can. But that's not been going too well. The problem is she refuses to speak plainly about her feelings. Instead, she makes up outlandish stories and lets her imagination run amok. And she tries to draw us all into her morbid make-believe tales. I feel like this is going to be a situation, isn't it, where the daughter sounds outlandish, but she's telling the truth and the parents don't believe her. So it's whether we believe her or not. Her counsellor says it's a coping mechanism, a kind of stress response adopted by bright children, possibly a way to get attention, perhaps a way of telling us that she wants to leave and go back to her old life. What's troubling is that she's never been this way before. She's normally not an attention-seeking child. Her counsellor's probably right. Anything I should be careful about, any triggers I should avoid talking about or doing. Well, not really. Like I said, she's perfectly normal, and not really a difficult child. She can be a little moody at times, that's all. And she might, if you probe, try to scare you with some of her stories. About this house, for example. What kind of stories? Just silly, juvenile stuff. The kind the kids tell each other when they gather around a campfire and try to scare each other, I suppose. She may have overheard something about this house and she's latched onto it and blown it out of proportion. It troubles us how morbid and disturbing her imagination can be. About this house? Yes, I'd rather not go into it, it's just nonsense anyway. Besides, that's exactly what she wants, for us to get drawn into her hysteria. In any case, her counsellor has told us not to engage or react, so if she does try anything, please be patient, be firm but gentle. What mine needs now is a little sanity. So about tonight, she's already eaten dinner and her bedtime is at 9, which is just under 2 hours away. The time should pass quickly, there's snacks in the kitchen if you should need it. She pauses and appears to be searching for words. I know that I may have come across as a bit severe when we spoke earlier on the phone. I have to be careful about who I choose to care for Maya. She's having a hard time as it is. No offence taken. Right. I'll ask Maya to come in now so you can meet her. I'm running out of water. You hear voices approach, Shreya's and that of a young girl's. They're speaking in low voices, but you sense tension and conflict in their voices. The child's tone is brusque, and irate, while Shreya's tone is stern. Hello, Maya. This is Maya. Say hi, Maya. Maya? Hi. Her voice is so low. Oh, hi. Her voice is so low you can barely hear it. I was just telling Maya that we're only away for about 3 to 4 hours and that she must go to bed no later than 9. She'll cooperate, of course. Isn't that right, Maya? You sense a warning in her tone. Maya. Yes. That mumbled reply again. Oh, she's possessed, isn't she? It's great to meet you, Maya. Right, we have to be off then. If there's anything, please call. Don't leave me with this child. Thanks, I'll call if there's any issues. Yes, please do that. Goodbye. A few minutes later... Mr. and Mrs. Raj have left. An awkward silence descends as Maya stares at you. Yeah, you're not kidding. There's about an hour and 30 minutes to go before her bedtime. What would you like to do? Interesting. Good talk. Good talk. Want a snack? No thanks. That awkward silence again. You shouldn't have come. Oh, you shouldn't have taken this job. You should leave. Why would you say that? Because you're not safe here. Go while you can. What am I in danger of? I can't tell you because you'll not believe me. Nobody believes me. I can take care of myself, don't worry. Okay, if you say so. I'd like to go up to my room now. Sure, go ahead. But she doesn't go. She lingers. You know, I told them not to get a sitter. I'm old enough to take care of myself. It's not safe. You mean you think you're not safe with me? That's not what I meant. I meant it's not safe for you. You already told me that. What am I in danger from? I just want you to leave before something happens to you. It feels like you're going in circles with her. Yeah, you're not joking. Well, you can't. Alright, at least I tried. I'm heading up to my room now. It's not bedtime yet. I know. I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to read, maybe write in my journal for a while. Don't worry, I'm not going to burn the house down or anything. Just, look, if you're not going to leave, then just, whatever you do, don't go near the basement, okay? No matter what you hear, don't go near it. Please. Oh no, I want to go near the basement. She leaves you standing alone. Ouch, that did not go well. It was just as Mrs. Raj said. Maya is definitely a troubled child. No sooner had they left than she began to try to make the situation uncomfortable. You'll just have to ride this out. If she spends the rest of the evening upstairs, things should be fine. You can hang out here in the lounge and pass the time until the parents get back. Where's the TV? It should be easy to do. Still, the conversation with Maya has left a bad taste in your mouth. She definitely seems like a bright young girl. It's a pity she's struggling with the pains of the changes in her life. But growth only ever comes from change, and that's something she'll learn over time. You decide to wait it out on one of the comfortable couches here. It sure is as comfortable as it looks. You practically sink into the plush leather. And 10 minutes later. What was that? It came from this floor somewhere. It sounded like a door opening. Did Maya come back down? Call out, Maya. You call out, but there's no response. Earlier you heard her go upstairs, but you did not hear her return. The sound came from near the staircase over there. You distinctly heard the creak of a door opening. This had better not be Maya playing around. There are 3 doors here. The door to your left, the door to the right of the stairs, which is there. That's the left one. And there appears to be a door behind the stairs. Well, that'll be the basement, surely. The stairs lead up to another floor, presumably where the bedrooms are. That sound you heard, that creak of a door opening, came from one of these doors, you're sure of it. Call out again? You raise your voice and call her name, but there's no response. Oh, fuck, you better check the doors. Oh, door on the left? It appears to be shut. You should try the door to make sure. Click the door to try it. It's locked. Right at the stairs, because the one under the stairs has got to be the basement. That's locked as well. Check the door under the stairs. It's open. It's ajar. This must have been the sound you heard. Through the gap in the doorway, you see only darkness. Fuck! What are you doing? I told you to stay away from the basement. Jeez, you scared the hell out of me. I told you to stay away from the basement. Why don't you listen? Why doesn't anyone listen? Why, what exactly is going on? You don't gain anything by doing this. What's that supposed to mean? Are you accusing me of something? I'm not doing anything. You came down here and opened the door, didn't you? Well, I didn't like either of those options. What? I just came downstairs now. I heard you calling me and I came down to see why. And I saw you near the basement door even though I told you not to go near it, no matter what you hear. So who opened the door? It wasn't me, okay, if that's what you're saying. You know what? You're all the same. All of you think I'm lying, even my counsellor. I'll bet Mal told you I'm making up stories. She tells that to everyone, even total strangers. But I'm not making up stories. I bet she didn't tell you what the real estate lady told us about this house. Well, what did they tell you? If I tell you, you'll just call me a liar and you'll accuse me of stuff I didn't do, so I'm not going to tell you anything. Do whatever you like, but for your own sake, stay away from the basement, no matter what you hear. What did the real estate agent tell you about the house? Oh, she's gone. Okay. This is not going well. You're just going to have to ride this out somehow until her parents get home. This is definitely getting uncomfortable. No wonder Mrs. Raj is concerned about the girl. Children express stress in varied ways. You've seen this in children who are going through traumatic changes in their lives. The poor girl. Better close this door. Not that you're overly alarmed about what Maya said, but the sight of the door is a bit creepy. That's better. Back on my sofa. Back to the comfortable sofa, staring out into darkness on the lawn. You'll sit tight till the parents get home. Not even 10, a few minutes later. The door again, really? Again? Come on, this isn't fun anymore. Why would she go and investigate again? What the hell's that? Someone crying? It's coming from over there near the stairs. Hi, are you okay? There is no response. It's coming from the door behind the stairs. Maya? Still no response. This is really aggravating. The sound of the weeping is troublesome. The door's open again. The crying's coming from the pitch darkness beyond it. There's no way you're going to open that door. Maya may be in there ready to spring out and scare you, and you're not up for being jump scared. No, I'm not. You don't really want to die of a heart attack on a babysitting gig. That's not what you signed up for. You better shut the door. Phew. The crying stopped. It's not Maya though, is it? This can't go on. She's going to be upstairs. You'd better put a stop to it now. She'll keep doing this all night, and by the time her parents come back, you will have died of fright. It's probably a good idea to talk to her, confront her. You could wait right here till she comes out of the basement. Pardon me. She can't stay down there forever. Or you could go upstairs and wait there. When she sneaks back up, you could catch her in the act, and then talk to her openly about what she's doing and why it's not going to help the situation. I'll go upstairs. Mrs. Raj told you to be gentle but firm. Maybe it's time to focus on the firm a little. Talk directly and firmly to her. Ask her about whatever is bothering her. Maybe what she needs is direct talk. Sometimes the best way to address something with children is to get to the heart of the problem. She might open up, and that would make things easier for her. I'm inclined to just believe her, depending on what she says. There are 3 doors on this side of the hallway. One of these is probably her room. You feel exposed standing here in this hall. She might see you before you see her. Maybe you could wait inside her room for her to get back. That would startle her, and even be a kind of gentle prank right back at her. Sometimes the best way to get a child to listen is to give them a taste of their own medicine. You should probably try the doors to find out which one is her room. Locked. Oh, okay. Let's hope the third one wasn't something that I've missed out on. This must be it. It's a pretty nice room. She's not here, of course she isn't. She's downstairs, crouched in the basement, perhaps getting ready. I thought she was going to be in here, I'll be honest. Ready to make those awful sounds again. Still, you feel a little guilty about being in here. It is, after all, her bedroom and therefore private. I see that book open on the desk. If she doesn't show up in a couple of minutes, you'll leave. Still, it'd be good to startle her a little, illustrate what it's like to get jump scared by someone. What is that? A pretty neat desk for a 12-year-old. It must be where she spends her time studying and reading. There's an open book on the table. Something about that book draws your attention. It's filled with urgent handwritten text. Curiosity grips you. You really shouldn't be here in this room, let alone looking at a desk, but something about the writing, about its manic scrawl. The writing is dated a couple of weeks ago. You feel compelled to take a closer look. Okay. Prepare myself. Thursday the 11th. I heard her again last night. Ooh. After both Mama and Dad had gone to bed. I was lying in bed, nearly asleep, when I heard the sound of her weeping downstairs. That's what we heard. I knew what would come next. And sure enough, I heard the faint shuffle of her footsteps as she made her way up the basement steps and up the stairs. Then she was in the hallway outside my room. I heard the squeak of my room's door handle turn. I stayed under the blankets, my eyes shut tight. Thank God I'd locked the door. It has become a compulsory habit and drives Ma and Dad crazy. I'm going around locking every door in the house, maybe from my anxiety. After a time, she went away. The next day, Friday the 12th. At breakfast, I told Ma that I had heard the sounds again the previous night, the weeping and the footsteps. Ma glared at me, and Dad didn't even bother looking up from his plate. Ma said, I want you to stop this, Maya. It's becoming tiresome and annoying. There's no one else in this house but the three of us. What about what the real estate lady told us before we moved in here, I blurted. She said, that was a tragic incident, but it happened in this house many years ago. It has nothing to do with us. You're obsessing and imagining things. Ma was almost in tears. I nearly burst out crying. It wasn't always like this. In our old life, before we moved here 6 months ago, they used to listen to me and take what I said seriously. Now they no longer believe anything I say. Oh, how I hate this house. But am I going crazy? Is she real? Am I the only one able to see and hear her? Well, I remember when I first encountered the lady in the basement. It was just after we moved in. I was alone downstairs and I heard the basement door creak open. I went to check. I went down there and nearly died from terror. I ran upstairs, screaming, and told Ma and Dad about what I saw. They were alarmed, and Dad searched the basement and then the whole house. But he found nothing. All he saw in the basement were the old packing boxes stored there. How I remember her when I saw her coming up the basement stairs out of the darkness. I remember a blast of rage and malevolence, and I feared for my life. Let's check I'm still recording. Yes. Another time, a week later, late at night, I heard her weeping downstairs. I ran to Ma and Dad's bedroom and crawled into bed with them crying. Dad searched the house again. He searched the basement, even though I got hysterical and begged him not to, and he found nothing. It's happened a couple more times. Now they look at me with concern. Not with concern, but with suspicion and even anger. Ma thinks, thanks to my counsellor, that I am having some kind of breakdown brought about by our move across the country and teenage hormones. It's true that I hate this state, I hate my new school, and most of all, I hate this house. I wish we'd never moved here. But could they all be right? Could it be true that the trauma of change is driving me insane, making me see things? Seeded by that awful story the real estate lady told us about what happened in this house all those years ago. What happened? Am I going crazy? Some nights, I lie in bed, wide awake, waiting for the sounds from the basement to start, frozen in terror. Friday the 27th. Okay, so I'm not only the one who sees her, which means I'm not going crazy, but it also means the situation is dangerous. Okay, so it's not just her. Yesterday, Ma and Dad had to attend a party thrown by an old friend of Dad's. I think it was one of those boring adult parties where everyone stands around sipping drinks and talking late into the night. So they hired a sitter, a sweet 22-year-old girl Nadia who goes to the BH college nearby. I really liked her, she was so pretty. I was up here. Why is she not writing on the lines? I was up here and it was at around 9 when I heard her scream. I ran downstairs and I found her cowering behind the sofa, her face ashen. She was pointing towards the basement door, and I knew at once that Nadia had seen her too. I asked Nadia what happened. She said that she heard the basement door opening, then a few minutes later the sound of someone weeping. She thought it was me and she went to investigate. She opened the basement door wide, and then she... Oh! Hey, just what do you think you're doing in here? You're reading my diary? That's so creepy, I'm going to call my mum. I should have locked the door. I went to the bathroom and just for once I didn't lock my room and see what happens. Please leave my room. Wait, I was in here to scare you, instead you got me again. Wait, I heard those sounds too from the basement, the weeping. I'm gonna go all in. Oh god, you shouldn't be in this house. The last sitter, it didn't go too well for her. You should leave the house now. What happened to the previous sitter? I guess you mean Nadia? She saw the lady in the basement. That's how I think of that thing down there, in caps. Well, it's not written in caps. Nadia heard her crying. She thought it was me and she went down into the basement to investigate. When I found her, she was screaming and hysterical. I could barely understand what she was saying. She said that the woman came at her. She called my ma and told her that she was leaving the house, that she didn't want to stay a moment longer. Ma was furious and I asked her why, but Nadia would not say why. I mean, it sounds crazy when you talk about it out loud, so I don't blame her. Also, I think Nadia didn't even want to think about what she saw, let alone talk about it. She was so shaken. Nadia was up here with me when Ma was talking to her on the phone. She just listened to Ma wordlessly, and then she left without a word. When Ma came home, she was furious with me. Let me guess, she thought you scared her away? Yes, she thought that I told Nadia about the lady in the basement and spooked her. That's why I didn't want to tell you anything about all this. I just wanted you to stay away from that basement, because I knew you wouldn't believe me and because I didn't want Ma to say that I scared you away. Tell me about this lady in the base. I want to know about the real estate agent. Before we moved here, Dad wanted to find a place near the hospital where he's working. So he got in touch with this real estate agent firm, and she showed them a bunch of houses. Ma didn't like any of them. Finally, the agent told them that she had one more place on her file. She brought us here. Ma loved the place at once. It was spacious, had a nice lawn, and a pool. 2 floors. What's not to love? Even better was the rent. I remember her dad was really happy about how cheap the rent was considering its size. The only issues with the house, Ma said, was that even though it's part of the suburban property, Whitefield Groves, it looked a little run down. That was when the real estate agent told Dad and Ma the story. She said that the last long-term residents lived here nearly a decade ago. A family of 3. The man was some kind of businessman and he used to travel a lot. His wife was a housewife, and they had a 4-year-old girl. The wife had some kind of ongoing mental disorder, depression I think, some kind of psychosis. She would hear voices or see things. She was taking medication for it. At one point she began to believe that her husband no longer loved her, that he was plotting to kill her. It could have been the long hours alone, or maybe she was slowly descending into madness. But at some point she broke, and in a moment of madness, she killed her daughter and herself. I asked the real estate agent in which room she'd done it, and she said she didn't know, but I think I have a pretty good idea where it happened. The house stayed vacant for a long time. Bad mojo, I guess? There were a couple of residents in between, but most stayed for a short time, then moved on. I guess they either saw something or felt uneasy. This house had been empty for almost 3 years before we moved in. Tell me about this lady in the basement. I heard the sounds about a week after we moved in here. First, the basement door kept opening by itself, always when I was alone in the lounge. I was too scared to go near it, so I kept ignoring it. I thought it was maybe a draft. Once it opened when Ma was with me, and she just shrugged and said that the door was stiff, so it sprang open. She said we would get it fixed. But then one day I heard the weeping and I could not help myself. I went to the door and I went down there and I saw her. I've been living in terror ever since. I hear her some nights. Sometimes she just weeps. Other times, she wanders the house. Nobody believes me. Mum and Dad think I'm making it up to get them to leave here and go back to our old life. I don't know what the lady in the basement wants. I don't even know what she is. But when I saw her, I sensed such rage, such despair. I know she wanted to harm me, even kill me if she could. But I knew at once who she was. She was the lady from the story. The story about the real estate woman who got us this house told us. Hasn't your mum and dad seen or heard anything? No, they say they haven't. Maybe they have. Maybe they're just blocking it off or something, or explaining it away. I'm pretty sure they haven't heard that horrible crying. You wonder how any of this is possible. Could any of this be real? Do you believe me now? I want to go a yes, because of the story. I'm going to go yes. I'm going to double down. You can find the alternate endings elsewhere. Wow, thank you. Oh, she's smiling now. It's great that at least someone doesn't think I'm crazy. I mean, we've heard it. I've been living with this for a while now. I'm losing weight. The counsellor at school thinks it's because of the move and the changes in my life, but I know why it is. It's hard for me to concentrate in class. I keep thinking about her, of the madness that drove her to kill her own daughter and take her own life, and I get scared. What if I go mad like that? Maybe that's what she wants. Do you try telling the counsellor the truth? I mean, they're not going to believe her, are they? Yeah. She started talking about putting me on meds. I don't want that. I don't want to be on one of those kids, you know, a walking zombie hopped up on prescription drugs. So after that, I went with his story. Yeah, it was the change. Poor old Maya. Misses her old school and her friends. Look, just leave, okay? Leave this house and go. I'm stuck and I have no choice, but you do. I won't leave you alone. I'll wait for your parents. That's nice of you, but it's dangerous. I can't ask you to do that. What if something happens to you? Nadia, the previous sitter, I think she saw something terrible down there. Sometimes I think that maybe the lady in the basement is looking for a child. Maybe mothers who hurt their children are never able to forgive themselves, even after they die. You should go. Ma will probably blame me again, but I'll handle it. I'm not going to leave. You can't now, can I? Thank you. That's very sweet of you, and brave. I wish I was that brave. Would you mind if I go to bed now? I'd like to try to sleep. I'm really exhausted. Sure, good night. Try and get some sleep. Fuck. Well, you're back downstairs again. You're going to sit tight. You know you're doing the right thing. No matter what, it wasn't right to abandon her and flee, not when her parents asked you to watch her. The kid's alright after all. Leaving her alone while her parents are away, especially after they entrusted you in her care, just didn't feel right. And if any of it's true, the insane story of the woman in the basement, why, you're going to have to deal with whatever comes. Time passes. Nothing so far. Crap, here we go. Footsteps from somewhere down below, from the basement. The basement door. That was the basement door again. You got to see this through. You're not running away. You have to find out the truth, even though your heart is running so hard that you fear it might crash. Can any of what Maya said be true? It's wide open. The sounds are coming from down there. A smell comes wafting up, a vile stench of corruption, of something long gone to rot. The smell is overwhelming, overpowering. It hits you like a fist. What terrible thing walks down there? You've only got one option. It's pitch dark. That smell, it's unbearable here. It's difficult to think. There are mouldy boxes piled up at the centre of the room. Oh! Who's there? You feel a sense of foreboding, a suffocating blackness overwhelm you. Darkness descends, clouding your mind. You cannot move, cannot even breathe. Terror grips you. A despair unlike anything you've ever known fills you. You sink into it, grief rising in you like a black tide. You find yourself slumped on the sofa in the lounge. Your head aches. Your hands are shaking. You spring to your feet. Dr. Raj! Ah, you're up. Where did you get back? About 10 minutes ago, we found you downstairs in the basement of all places. You were lying on the floor passed out. Maya told us to look for you there. When we got home, we found Maya upstairs quite shaken. She was near hysterical. She told us that she heard you scream and that you might be hurt in the basement. It took us a lot of effort to calm her down. She kept saying it was her fault, that she should not have accepted when you insisted you'd stay. She said that you talked to her about what she calls the lady in the basement. I'm in trouble. She said you told her you believed her. It is shameful that you would encourage her like this, play along with the delusions of a child. Shreya will be here in a moment. She wants to talk to you before you go. Goodbye. And he was the nice one. Hey, Ma will kill me if she sees me talking to you, but I had to see you before you left. Did you see her, the lady? Did you see her? Yes, I did. I knew it. You see? I was telling the truth. Thank you for believing me. I'm so glad you're not hurt. I can't believe that you stayed on despite what you knew. I know that must have taken a lot of courage. That means a lot. Maybe I can be like that and have that kind of courage too. You're courageous already. Thank you. Well, I really have to go now before Ma sees me talking to you. She'll come down hard on you. That's just the way she is. Don't feel bad. Until she sees it too, she will never believe. I'm sorry all this happened to you. You never asked for this. Will you be okay? Well, I know I'm not crazy now, and you went down there and faced her. I'm going to try and face my fears and be brave too. Thank you for showing me that I can. Bye. Where's Mrs. Raj? Here she is. I must say that I am sorely disappointed. We put you in charge of looking after her, and Anand finds you lying passed out in the basement. He says you weren't drunk or on drugs, but I find that hard to believe. At least you stayed on, unlike our last sitter who left the child alone and fled. I'm not sure I should be grateful for that considering the situation. You encouraged my daughter's sick fantasy and you've probably set back our progress with her by weeks in doing so. Your daughter isn't lying. There really is someone or something in this house. I don't know. Didn't believe it at first, but she's not lying. Really? So she dragged you into her hysteria and you believed all of it. This is exactly what a counsellor warned us not to do. Since you work with children, I thought you'd know better. There's nothing wrong with Maya, it's this house. Goodbye. We'll be passing on our feedback to your agency. Damn. Well, that didn't go as you planned. You've been shown out rather unceremoniously. Mrs. Raj was clearly furious, so was Dr. Raj, but what Maya said, what you saw in there, that sense of abject despair that washed over you in the dark. As you leave, you turn to look at the house. You think of all that happened. And you wonder. One week later. Childminder required tomorrow evening for our 12-year-old daughter. Reference checks will be conducted, so they're trying to get someone else. End. Wow. There's the babysitter. My voice needs a rest. Jesus Christ. They're good games, but yeah, it's a lot of reading. But what did you think of it? I don't do many visual novel games, so I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on them. I thought it was good. I thought it was a good story. Yeah, thanks a lot for watching. I'll be back with another video in a few days, so look out for that one. Press the notification bell if you want to know exactly when it comes out. If not, subscribe and you'll get it in your feed. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and thanks a lot again, and I will see you in the next video.